Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. I'm Riya Dwivedi. Vijay Diwas is celebrated in India every year in a bid to commemorate India's victory over Pakistan in the 1971 war, and the war resulted in the liberation of Bangladesh. The day is a high point in Indian history, and the country pays tribute to the bravery and sacrifices of the armed forces. The war had broken out because of the humanitarian crisis in the then East Pakistan, and the Pakistani army had launched a campaign against the civilian population of the region. India had then intervened to support the people in their struggle for independence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has posted on the social media platform X and said that we honor the courage and sacrifice of the brave soldiers who contributed to India's historic victory in 1971. We have with us my colleague Ajay Jandal joining us on the telecast. Ajay, good morning to you. And when we're talking about such a high point in Indian history, Vijay Diwas takes the utmost importance about the fact over this significance, because it established India as not just the fact that Bangladesh was liberated, but also it established India as a regional power.
Yes, it's a big day for the Indian Army and every Indian, those who know that how forces they have ensured that the people, those who were living, a life like a hell in Eastern Pakistan, earlier which was known as Eastern Pakistan and now Bangladesh, they were given justice and that's why people of country as well as people of Bangladesh is celebrating this day. And especially, this Victory Day parade and other functions will be organized in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and even in Kolkata as well. Because we know every Indian and every soldier, those who are associated with the defense forces, they have this special moment because they know that the bravery of the soldiers have ensured justice to the civilians' life over there. And today, when it was 1971. When Pakistan was taught a lesson by the Indian forces, and it was split into two parts, like one becomes Bangladesh and other is in Pakistan. This is this was the courage of the forces. But now, when modern India is growing up, it is expected that similar kind of attempt things will happen in the coming time, because the people, those who are living in Pakistan and those who are living in Balochistan, those who are living in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, they are also fed up, and they are also facing the similar kind of situation which Bangladesh, was facing at that time.
Ajay, when we talk about the sacrifices that were made by the armed forces, over estimated 3,900 soldiers had lost their lives. They were martyred in this, and the war lasted for at least 13 days. But this Vijay Diwas, it symbolizes the fact that the oppression of Pakistani military ended, and there was a liberation of Bangladesh. So it's in the memory of the Indian armed forces who were martyred and the brave sacrifices that they did.
Yes, because in Eastern Pakistan, which is known as Bangladesh now, and it becomes a country, that area was basically specially targeted by the Pakistani forces at that time, and they have especially launched the operation to target the civilians, and inhuman acts was going on over there, brutality was going on over there by the Pakistani forces and Pakistani government, and that's why that initiative was started by the government of India, and they have given them justice, and people were freed, and they become Bangladesh. And but no doubt that it was only possible only because of the forces, those who were participating in the 1971 war, and especially 13 days long battle was fought by the Indian forces, by the Indian Army Jawans. They, neutralized the Pakistan's nefarious plan, and then Bangladesh was made. And 3,900 soldiers of the Indian Army and others, they lost their life while fighting with the Pakistani forces and for foiling their attempt. And definitely, this is a pride moment for every soldier and every Indian, because today they are celebrating, people and the country is celebrating this victory on the Pakistan, because Pakistan was again and again trying the same things in Jammu and Kashmir, in other part of the area which is under the Pakistan occupation. So voices once again, raised, and in forces they are continuously
Ajay
thwarting the Pakistan.
Jandal, we also have with us Colonel VK Sahi, defense expert, joining us on the telecast. Colonel VK Sahi, good morning to you. And it's a major a high point when it comes to Indian history today that Vijay Diwas it is celebrated today. And the fact is that Vijay Diwas is celebrated about the fact that it's just not the fact that liberation of Bangladesh took place, but also that India was established as a regional power and the Pakistani military's oppression ended in Bangladesh.
Good morning, Riya. Thank you so much for having me on your show. As a soldier, when I look at it, it's not Bangladesh independence that charms me as much, more so the way Bangladesh is now behaving. But militarily, as a soldier, surrender of 93,000 Pakistanis with arms and ammunition, able-bodied soldiers of that number is a matter of great pride for our army. It is unparalleled in the annals of military history anywhere in the world. 93,000 Pakistani armed soldiers, all rank, journals down to their fighting troops. Everybody kneeled down, put their weapons aside, put their ammunition aside, bowed down and surrendered. That is a huge military success, a great military pride, and that is what I as a soldier celebrate. Bangladesh independence, yes, was a byproduct which they should enjoy, must enjoy, and we can share their pleasure. But another thing which is painful with it, that 93,000 of their prisoners were returned. 78 of Indian prisoners in Pakistan in the same war were never got back. They are still languishing in the Lakhpat jail of Pakistan. That was also a great opportunity for Government of India to negotiate vacation of Pakistan occupation from Jammu and Kashmir's that Pakistan illegally occupied area. We never negotiated on it. So there are bright sides, there are sad sides, but as far as the victory is concerned, it was a domination, military domination. It was a great fact, and the lives we lost, of course, we bow for their sacrifices and seek heavenly or their Veerpati as we traditionally call it. Area.
We also have with us Major General P.K. Sehgal, defense expert, joining us on the telecast. Major General P.K. Sehgal, good morning to you. And as we are celebrating the highest point in Indian history, Vijay Diwas, and also the fact that this established India's military dominance and also India's neighborhood first policy, this day marks the fact that brave soldiers were martyred, over 3,900 soldiers, and their brave sacrifice that they made for the country and how they supported Bangladesh in their liberation. So what do you think as a soldier, how does this signify when it comes to the unity and the military domination and the sacrifices that were made by the soldiers?
1971 war was the greatest war that was fought by this country. In fact, in the annals of warfare, there isn't any parallel example where a new nation was created within flat 14 days. And 93,000 Pakistani soldiers surrendered to the Indian Army despite having the wherewithal to survive and fight for another 6 months. This is the only war where a nation was liberated. The Indian Army stayed on either in the form of Mukti Bahini earlier and thereafter as regular troops for almost 6 months. Not a single instance or single allegation of any rape or loot against the Indian Armed Forces. The sensitivity, the character, the integrity, and the compassion displayed by the Indian Army soldiers was something that the world was absolutely stunned, and they haven't ever heard or seen nothing like this. Thereafter, after independence, we have sent peacekeeping missions to 49 countries. In each country, the Indian Army stood apart absolutely as an example of, sterling example of what leadership and character and integrity are all about. As far as the strengthening of the Indian Army is concerned, after, if you look at Indian Army's history, prior to independence of full 1,000 years, we lost almost every war. Whoever came through the Khyber Pass defeated us, and whoever came from the sea coast, whether it was the French or the Portuguese or the Dutch or the Britishers, got the better of us. After independence, we fought 5 wars. The war against China we lost because of the bureaucratic and the political naivety. 4 wars against Pakistan that we fought, we won them with conviction. Even today, Pakistan is continuously licking its wounds, not realizing how they got humbled. If you recall 1965 war, they had better aircraft, they had better tanks, and they had better artillery. They had the latest variety of equipment gifted to them by the Americans and the Britishers. We were fielding only the World War II vintage aircraft, the tanks as well as the artillery, and yet it was Indian Army which went on to defeat the Pakistanis, because the man behind the machine was absolutely solid. The cause for which he was fighting was just. His leadership, his training was absolutely superb, and the entire country stood up solidly behind him. When you come to 71 war, the Pakistani plans were once again drafted and made by the Britishers and the Americans. They thought they will have breakfast in Jammu, they were at lunch in Jalandhar, and they would have dinner in Delhi. But what happened is known the world over. Pakistan stood humiliated, humbled, and the country was broken into 2. When you come down to Kargil war, once again the Pakistanis dubiously occupied almost 250 kilometers of our territory, saying that it was the jihadis and the Kashmiri Mujahideens, and the regular army had nothing to do. But actually it turned out to be more than a brigade strength of theirs, spread over 250 kilometers. They occupied all the heights. I happened to be fighting that war for 4 years. I operated in that area. Everything was in favor
All
of the
right,
Pakistan.
Major General P.K. Sehgal, thank you so much for joining us on the telecast. Moving on, Tabla maestro Zakir Hussain passed away at a hospital in San